Well, how you doing? I'm meteorologist Mike Simon. Hope you're having a terrific weekend. I know a lot of folks are concerned about the weather that's coming up here soon. We do have some impactful weather that'll hit us early in the morning, and we'll still have impactful weather that'll be with us through Monday. So let's go ahead and take you through the timeline and show you what we can expect. And we start off, first of all, with the 3-day forecast. We have weather impact alerts for both Sunday and Monday because of this wintry mass that's going to be impacting not only Tennessee, but Kentucky too. And then a lot of states northward may get a pretty good swath of snow. Fortunately for us, we're going to warm up. And even though it's going to be problematic in the morning, it should improve throughout the day on Sunday. But then there'll be snow on the backside of this system, and temperatures will be falling thereafter. And it'll be a cold week coming up ahead once this system pulls through. So what's the weather impact? Wintry mix changes to rain, and that'll be Sunday morning into Sunday afternoon. Then we get all rain. That northern half of the area could see very slick roads, and even some southern parts could get some patchy, slick areas, so just be aware of that. Even slushiness could cause some slickness if you end up getting a little bit of grapple, which is like ice pellets, or freezing rain and sleet mixed in with some snow. Rain overnight, and then early Monday, it's going to be very windy as well, and change over to snow. And I'll have those totals in a minute that we think is going to happen. Here's the infrared satellite imagery. We had some clouds, but now they're beginning to erode. So most of the night's going to be pretty clear. Clouds will build back in the morning. But this storm system we've been talking about for a few days has finally started to materialize out over the plains. So once we know exactly where the low pressure is going to merge off the Rocky Mountains, it's a little easier to figure out exactly what direction and where it's going to be through time. At the moment, they're getting some icing mess into Kansas City. Also, in some parts of western Kansas, they may get a lot of snow. Eastern Kansas, they're going to have some icing issues, and then you can see the snow building up into Nebraska. That's what's going to be heading our way, and we are on the cusp of where the temperature is on the fence. So that's why we're going to get a mixture throughout the morning. As winter weather advisory has been issued, it lasts through Sunday at 7 p.m., not just those counties listed, but everybody you see shaded in purple. You get to this very southern areas, it's probably not going to be so problematic. It's mainly west and north that'll have the most problems early in the morning for slickness. Forecast lows, we're dipping down to the middle 20s. Some of us will be down the low 20s back over the plateau. And since it's going to be a little colder there and northward a little colder, it'll take a while before that temperature rebounds. We'll eventually get up above freezing, but that's going to take till around lunchtime tomorrow, around noon. So it'll be below freezing all morning long, and that's why we're getting this possibility of having some rough conditions across the area. Temperatures will eventually get up to 40 degrees, though, later in the afternoon. And that's why the rest of the moisture that's coming in, it's going to be just rain, and that will help melt any possibilities that are causing slickness away. So it'll help us out. Here's your temperature trend over the 24 hours. And if you notice, those temperatures are getting down into the middle low 20s. Will start to rise by around 10 a.m., but it'll still be freezing. So that's where we see the wintry mix. And then once the temperature gets freezing and above, it'll just be rain only. Now, it doesn't always happen that way. We can get snow at 34, 36 degrees, but this setup is not quite the setup needed for that. So it'll just change over to rain. Then we'll have a break, and more rain is going to be moving in tomorrow evening. Here's Futurecast to plan it out. Now, I planned it out timeline just to give you an idea, and it could vary an hour or two, but you know it's going to be happening early in the morning. I paused it at 8 a.m. The atmosphere is very dry right now. We have dew points running in the single digits and teens, so it'll take a while for the atmosphere to moisten up as that system approaches. The initial moisture that we get is due to a warm front that's going to be lifting north of us. And since it's so cold and it happens in the morning, it's going to come down as snow for some at first, and then changing to sleet and freezing rain. Sleet and freezing rain with maybe some snowflakes mixed in for others, especially south of I-40. So once it starts, about 8 o'clock or so, it'll moisten, from the top down, and then it'll start reaching the ground. You can see it quickly go through. I'm going to back that up a little bit for you since we're live here, and I can give you an idea a little bit better to slow it down. You see the northern areas are going to have snow initially, and that may actually start sticking on the ground in some of those spots. But once it starts changing over to freezing rain and sleet and eventually warm up, that'll be gone. So we're not including that in snow totals. I'll show you coming up in a minute. So once that moves on, places in Kentucky, they're still going to get hammered. And we'll be nearly in the clear, except for right along the Kentucky line, there still could be some icing even early afternoon. But eventually that lifts far enough north to where we're not affected anymore, and we get some of a break. Afterwards, the rain will start to move in. This is 9 o'clock in the evening. So this is the cold front that's bringing more rain our way. And as it moves through, we're going to get a pretty good soaking. By Monday, 6 a.m., a lot of it will be gone, and we'll have some of a break. But now the cooler air will start to rush in, and we will get some snow on the backside of the system. It won't be a whole lot, but we are going to have places that could pile up a little bit of snow of a few inches, especially the highest elevations. Even by 9 p.m., it'll change over to a more upslope flow event or mountain wave event, and that's why they'll still have snow there at the higher elevations of the mountains. Now, first of all, I got to go back to that because it kind of blew by it. I want to show you the ice accumulations here. This is potential ice accumulation. Fortunately, most of us have less than 1/10 of an inch. So it'll be sort of a glaze in some cases. A lot of times it glazes surfaces of things that are outside first because it's cold, it stays colder, but then it'll start to glaze the ground. Now the places in pink, that's where the glazing could get up to 1/10 of an inch or more, and that could cause some serious issues on the roads until it warms up enough. So that's why you probably want to stay at home or at least avoid some of these areas depending on where you are, and wait till it warms up enough to where the freezing rain part of it won't be that much of an effect on the roads because it's just going to be rain thereafter, a cold rain albeit, but at least it won't be freezing anymore. Now here's the rain possible, and we need it. We're in a drought still, so about 1/2 inch to 1 inch of rain is possible where you see some of the blues, but most of us will get around 1/2 inch of rain, maybe 3/4 inch of rain where you see the greens. And then after that, we're talking Monday, when it's cold enough, the temperature high is going to get up to the 40s. I showed you that, but that's going to be real early, and then the temperature will be falling throughout the day. So that's why we have potential snowfall. Flurries primarily into the valley. You get up in the northern reaches of the valley, maybe up to Rogersville, Greenville, you get some flurries, perhaps some dustings up to 1/2 inch. And then 1 to 2 inches as you get more into the mountains closer to Virginia. 2 to 4 inches possible at the highest elevations, and that's back toward the Smokies. And they could get a less than 1 inch in spots over the plateau. You know, the higher elevations could get as much as 1 inch. That's where you see the light blue, not the lightest blue, the second color there. And then 1 to 2 inches up toward Kentucky, but it really starts to pile up more the more north you go into Kentucky. And at least for us though, we will be winding this down on Monday, but look how cold it gets. Monday's going to be 45 degrees for the high, but that's, again, closer to midnight. And then temperatures take a dive thereafter, and that's why we have potential snow and especially a mountain wave event. Afterwards, look, we're barely going to be above freezing for 4 days, 5 days to come for an afternoon high, which means most of the day, outside of a window of a few hours, it's going to be freezing or below through the rest of the week. Even our lows dip down into the teens. So this is a pretty good Arctic blast that's hitting us. And since we're going to be already set in with these cold temperatures, it's still quite uncertain, but the next system may come as snow. And we have that in the forecast for you on Friday. It's too far out really, but we'll give you heads up at least to pay attention, and we'll fine tune that forecast as we head into the end of the week into next weekend. So there you have it. Everybody try to be safe. Definitely avoid slick roads. You probably just want to hang tight in the morning if you can. And then the afternoon, should be starting to get much better, especially more southward. Now, even those of you who live or plan to travel up closer to Kentucky, you might want to wait another hour to maybe 3 hours in the afternoon before the roads are a little bit better. Just check your thermometers. You can tell whether or not you're going to be above freezing at that point. So everybody stay safe this weekend, and I'll see you again soon. We'll keep you informed. The whole weather team will be here.